Hello, San Angelo. Welcome back to the Live Daily News Show. I'm your host, Tessa Koskovich. In news today, a hoax threat started the day for SISD. The City Council reviewed San Angelo's potential data center, and we have some numbers for early voting in the city. For our interview today, it's another Joe Hyde special. I know you guys are so excited. As he now sits down with Todd Smith, Chad Decker's opponent, in the county commissioner race. My goodness, you guys, I'm so sorry. Which we'll get into after these messages from Jana Johnson and Jim Bass.
People just don't want a decision. They want a process they can trust. In county court at law, that means upholding the law and applying the law consistently, explaining the rules clearly, treating everyone with respect, and making sure every voice is heard. A judge sets the tone for the entire courtroom. I have that experience, that temperament and calmness to set the right tone. Justice you can trust. Vote Jana Johnson for judge for Tom Green County Court at Law number 1.
Truck Month is on at Jim Bass Ford. Right now, all new 25 Ford F-250 Super Duties are $9,000 off MSRP. Power, performance, and pricing you won't find anywhere else. Our lots are packed, and these trucks are priced to move fast. And once they're gone, they're gone. Get here now to Jim Bass Ford, Houston Hart and Arden Road, or 24/7 at bassbunch.com.
Well, hello, welcome to the show. I'm Joe Hyde, the publisher and founder of San Angelo Live. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about county politics because this is political season in San Angelo. We have the Republican primary coming up. I have a candidate here, but before I introduce him, I'll just kind of give you an overlay of what you're going to be deciding if you vote in the Republican Party in March. We have 3 races. One is the county clerk. So you have 2 candidates for that. We have the county court at law number 1. We have 3 candidates for that. And then we have county commissioner precinct 2. And that's what Todd Smith here. Todd,
Yes,
say hello to San Angelo.
Well, hello, San Angelo, Texas. Hello.
But, the county commissioner's court, for those who are not acquainted with the politics or how things work in government, is kind of like the city council for the county. So you have 4 commissioners and 1 county judge. County judge acts as the mayor of the town, so you're kind of mostly administrative function, even though it is a true court that you hold. Precinct 2 is if you can imagine the Tom Green County divided into window pane. We have 4 precincts. Precinct 2 is the southeast or the lower right precinct of the window pane there.
The red on the map.
Is it red?
The red on the map, yeah.
Okay. And so that's Wall and Butler Farms and Moretta and
San Angelo Country Club, Bentwood, Butler Farms, Lake Nasworthy, Southland, some of College Hills, all the way up to Goodfellow and out to Moretta.
Okay. So that was Sammy Farmer, who just passed away, unfortunately.
Yes.
That was his district, and so now we're having an election. You're running against Chad Decker, who's a home builder. And anyway, I just want people to kind of meet you and find out who you are. And we can start, and I'll just tell you a story. How did you get to San Angelo?
So 1990, I graduated high school from Monahans, Texas. And I had some cousins that were living here. Going to ASU, and they told me that there was some real pretty girls here to come check them out. And then I moved here in 91 of January and hadn't looked back.
All right. And so we met. Your dad was a real estate agent, Ron Smith, late Ron Smith.
Yes.
And he sold me my house, and he goes, "Hey, my son needs some work to do." I guess he was worried about you. I don't know.
He always worried about me.
But he had you come over and change out some breakers or something before we closed on the house. It was kind of cool. But anyway, that's when I first met you. That was back in 2005, I think. But
yeah.
But anyway, since then you've kind of followed this technology route, kind of like a local technology route. Let me ask you a question, just to get into the when I say technology, I mean IT, right?
Right.
The Skybox thing, is it worth it?
Yes. The Skybox thing is worth it. I've done a lot of research with it, and I even went to Abilene a couple weeks ago to talk to some of the. I didn't talk directly with the county judge or with the city council member, but they were on a panel, and they were talking about some different things that the city of Abilene was going through. One of the positive things was their sales tax revenue had just like tripled. So they got this big budget of sales tax money they needed to spend on something, which is not a bad thing to have, right?
Why would sales tax increase because of a data center?
All the workers that they bring in,
They're spending all their money at Stripes.
Spending all their money at in the local stores and yeah. So and then there's hotel money as well. There's a hotel tax that they get as well. So
hotel occupancy tax, hot.
But I was also sitting at the local DoubleTree having dinner, and listening in. There was a gentleman who was from a power company. And he was talking about how they're going to power this data center, and they're using natural gas to power these generators. And they're looking by 2040 to be able to not only power the AI center, but also put power back on the grid.
And of course, Abilene is the location for a project called Stargate, right?
Yes.
Which is a gigantic, Trump announced it in the Oval Office. That's how big this thing is. We have just a small little data center, well, actually 3 buildings, I think, that they're putting up on the north. It would be in Precinct 1.
Precinct
so
1,
northeast quadrant.
Out by Harriet.
Yeah. And a lot of the things that people have said, it's going to use too much water, it's going to make too much noise.
Too much electricity.
Too much electricity. So the big thing, I think, is electricity. But my point is, I think the data center is perfect. We need to open up the entire county and just cover it with data centers instead of solar panels, because there's so much money. It's kind of like a gigantic commercial office building. If you imagine that someone buys 3 locations where they could stack servers, and each one of those servers is worth, an Antmeter Bitcoin miner, how much of those? About $40,000.
Yeah.
So you stack up a bunch of Antmeters in 3 racks. And you're talking, hundreds of thousands of dollars of valuation that goes on to our
tax roll.
Our tax roll.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we get taxed is, they say, we got $10 billion worth of property here, and the county's going to tax it at what, half cent, and
right, or
whatever it is, 0.44 cents, whatever the rate is, and if you get more of these servers stacked up in there that cost $30,000-$40,000 each, that's a lot of money, and they're saying like billions of dollars.
Which the one that Skybox is bringing in is the storage facility. It's not using any AI or cryptocurrency servers out there. Not to say that they can't be used for cryptocurrency or for AI. It's just not what they're used for.
That's not what they're going to try to track cloud storage.
Yes, they're gonna
type tenants.
And I'm, who knows? Meta may come in and just buy the whole Skybox and say this is a Meta data center. Mm-hmm. And only store Facebook photos on this whole data center, and that's what we would look at is if they sell to somebody, they're going to sell to either
Google, Meta,
they're going to sell to one of those large companies.
ChatGPT,
yeah,
or X.
X
is going to put their stuff up in space. That's what I heard.
Well, I heard that today too. Yeah.
So anyway, I think the data centers are a good thing, and I'm glad that you're on board with it because it really will. If you look at every county in Texas has trouble with their budget and tax rate. Mm-hmm. And you said in your literature, I was seeing that you're a budget hawk.
I'm a budget hawk.
What does that mean?
That's funny you say that, but I was actually called that. I run around in my job with Snyder IT. I run around the counties and put together the IT budget. And a lot of times, these small counties, don't have the budget for IT for them to come in and hire us to be their IT company. So what I do is I do an audit on their telecommunications bills, mm-hmm. and sometimes I find that they're paying a 50 meg connection, and they're paying $850 a month for that 50 meg connection.
So explain to me what a 50 meg connection is and what you should have.
So a 50 meg connection is probably data from the 90s to 2000s, mm-hmm.
what
a business would need to run their county on.
Right.
Today, it's a 1 gig is a minimum that we would put somebody on.
So here at San Angelo Live, we have 1 gig up and down.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if we didn't have that, we couldn't do all this live streaming and crazy stuff we do here.
Right.
So and our 1 gig probably costs about as much as their 50 meg connection.
Yeah,
Right.
or maybe a little bit less.
Yeah. So 1 gigabyte is 1,000 meg. Is that right? Am I getting it right? Or is it 10? I can't do the math. But 50
Yeah.
meg is like a very small
Very
fraction
minimal,
of
yeah.
a gig.
You can hardly run a business on 50 meg of internet any longer.
Right.
And then we look at their telecommunication bills. The POTS lines, the copper lines have kind of gone away.
That's like the old timey phones.
Yeah, so now there's no regulations on those copper lines. I've seen in places where they're charging $450 a month for a single
For a phone line. Like a phone line you had back in 2003.
And so we've got a replacement for that that's fully compatible with the fire marshal. The fire marshal has already approved it.
And the reason why the fire marshal has to approve these new IP phones, I guess, VoIP phones, is because they got to have, every phone has to have an address. So when you call
address.
911, it
You know where to come.
Knows where to come. Right. And so anyway, have you looked at the Tom Green County IT infrastructure?
I have not. I've not looked into it. But I did know Dr. Thornton from the past, and I visited with him a little bit about going in deep with him. And he said we'll look at it at a later date. Now we've got, I believe it's Kevin that's in charge of the IT department. Him being the new guy, I've done a few things with them as far as internet connections. Mm-hmm. I helped procure. I brought in, I think, 10 different internet providers that help procurement to get the best deal on their internet connection. They actually have 2 internet connections. As a town, Tom Green County is big enough, they need a primary and a secondary.
Right, in case one goes down. That way, if it goes down, you won't be able to browse the jail logs.
That's true. We've got to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. You can't see the jail logs. I mean, come on.
Say cheese and whatever, right?
Yeah. So, what do you think, as your background, how would that impact the county commissioner's court if you were to win?
Well, I believe that technology is going to happen whether we like it or not. Today, I know we have Tom Green County has servers that are in-house, mm-hmm. and servers are expensive these days. I mean, just for example, a sign company that put a server in 5 years ago to store all the signs that they save, that server was about $3,500 to $5,000. Mm-hmm. Well, that same server today is about $15,000, mainly because of these data centers coming in, buying all of the NVIDIA chips, all the AMD chips, buying all the RAM. That it's supply and demand, right? So they can't keep up. They're selling all these to these data centers. So these servers are expensive now. So most of the time, what we need to do is we need to take those to the cloud.
So you're saying Tom Green County should retire some of its physical infrastructure that mm-hmm. has, and maybe pay a subscription service to a cloud company to store records.
And in that, the cloud company takes care of all the upgrades. So when you get a firmware upgrade on your server, the cloud company takes care of that instead of having to do that in house.
I have the same problem. I mean, I have a co-located server. I have actually 3 co-located servers for San Angelo Live. They're in a data center. I'm using water.
In the cloud.
No, it's in a data center. I mean, I have physical servers, and I have to. I mean, me personally, I have to upgrade from Ubuntu. I think Ubuntu Linux. I went from like 14 up to 22. In the course of my life at San Angelo Live. So you have to constantly and I own a company. I have to do that stuff.
Did you have any problems with any of those upgrades?
No.
Any downtime?
I'm really good.
Okay, good.
I didn't no downtime at all. But sometimes it's gotten real squirrely. The last upgrade I did was in December, and it sped the site up like 100%. I mean, it's just, I got it on a new server. I named my servers after airplanes. So I started off on Stratofortress.
Okay.
Right? And then Stratofortress went away, and I got Raptor.
Raptor, right? All right.
Right, and then Raptor just got retired, and now I'm on Raider, named after the B-21 coming to Abilene. But anyway, but I know just my small little 3-server thing. I can't imagine a county with probably 60 servers, or however many has. I'm sure it has a lot of them. Plus, I don't have to worry about the legal ramifications of
Yes.
losing information. You know, for example, all those servers at the county, I think the biggest tax probably evidence for all the judicial courts.
Yeah, I mean, you have all the sheriff's office who has their body cams, and that data has to go somewhere.
Right.
And it's currently going on a server local, and which uses hard drive space, which hard drives are, again, part of the supply and demand. But then that's got to be able to get transferred to one department to the next department to the next department. And there's some things there that probably need to be looked at.
Right.
And I believe that I could help with that.
Okay, in Lubbock County last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, you had 2 county commissioners were able to stonewall the county judge and prevent him from setting the tax rate above what's called the no new revenue rate. So they had to go into the next year with the tax rate set right at the no new revenue rate. For those not interested or those curious about this, the state of Texas, this is city municipal governments, this is school districts, this is counties. There, you can set the rate somewhere between what's the low end is the no new revenue rate, meaning if you set the tax rate at that rate, the county's not going to bring any more money into the county than it did last year. And new properties are excluded from that. And then you have what's called the voter approval rate on the top end, which if they set the tax rate at that or above, there has to be a ballot referendum to approve that tax rate. So most counties in Texas set their tax rate somewhere between the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate. The biggest complaint we have, if you talk to anyone in San Angelo or Lubbock or Abilene or even Midland, Odessa, or even Houston, is that every year the amount of money you're paying in taxes on your property continues to go up because property valuations go up. And the only way to fight against the property values going up, because that's all set by the state comptroller's rules, right, is to set the tax rate. We have never had a county judge in this county set the tax rate at a rate close to the no new revenue rate. In Lubbock, they did it.
Okay.
Lubbock didn't fall apart. You said you're a budget hawk.
Yes.
How are you going to view, I guess, setting the tax rate? You said they have a series of budget meetings every July, August every year to set the tax rate starting on October 1st.
That's correct. And we actually meet and talk about I sat in it about 4 years ago, sat through a budget process, not really knowing why I was there, but I found it interesting. When Judge Floyd was the judge,
Right.
and sat through
Steve Floyd.
Right.
Right.
I sat through budget meetings with that, and first one was the sheriff's office bringing in. They pleaded their case on how much money they needed and why, and it was all itemized out. And then the IT came in, and it was all itemized out. And then the JPs came in, and it was all itemized out. So everybody comes in and pleads their case on how much they need and how much they want to run their department. And of course, every one of them are asking for a COLA raise, cost of living upgrade
For their employees.
So every one of those are asking for that. And so after that is when it goes back to closed doors, and the commissioners and the judge get together and talk about, all right, the sheriff doesn't really need this. We can hold off on this piece until next year or whatever. And that's how it's kind of a backwards way of setting that tax rate. But if we have something like the data center or even anything industrial come in that helps with that tax rate, that helps us offset
You
that.
mean a data center comes in and increases the valuation of the property that you tax at 0.44 or whatever it is. So that would you could lower the tax rate.
Could lower the tax rate with that.
So you're just counting on growth. You're not going to count on cutting anything.
Well, I don't know until I get in. I mean, and do the actual looking at each line item, and I think I can bring that to the table, of ask the questions of why are we paying $25,000 for this server when we can be putting it in the cloud or at a colo even.
Right. Okay. So I lost my train of thought. So on the tax rate, what if you were? I mean, would you ever have would you ever be the guy that like they had up in Lubbock where he's just a rabble rouser, and he just said, no, we're not going to tax. We're going to keep the tax rate at the no new revenue rate damn the torpedoes.
I would be that guy if I saw in the budget that I see, if I saw that and I said we can run our budget on this lower level of tax rate. Yeah, I would be that guy.
You'd be that guy. You'd
be
be the
that
rabble
guy.
rouser, and then everyone would talk bad about you because you realize that the county, and this is a dynamic with local elections, whether you run for city council or county commissioner's court or county judge or whatever. The county employees is a gigantic voting block, right? And if they don't think they're going to get their 5 to 10% increase every year, they may not vote for you.
I've already had that discussion with several of the employees because, we had a discussion about across the board raises, and I was like, in a business, we don't give across the board raises. We just don't. We give the raises to those who deserve it. But I got a little. A few of the employees came back and voiced their opinion on that, and I had to calm them down a little bit. And as long as you're doing your job, then I think you're going to be great.
One of the counter argument to that is the county employee, and I'm not advocating one side or another. I'm just trying to pull something else. But a county employee generally is working for less money than that person.
Yes.
Like your IT manager could probably make 3 times what he out in the private sector if he moved to Dallas or Austin or somewhere. And he's living here and he's making less money, and so the trade-off is he has good retirement and he has a raise every year.
Right.
So.
Well, and that's a great point, and that was brought up as well. And I think I even had a conversation with. Well, I can't name any names on here, but we had a conversation about, with the data center coming in, we would have to use some of that influx money to get trued up, get our county trued up. We've got sheriff's office employees out there that are not making near what they could make in Lubbock or Odessa or Midland.
Or even the SAPD.
Or even SAPD. Yeah. So we would want to spend some of that money in order to true up our county and get our county to where we're not losing sheriff's deputies and we're not losing employees.
I would think jailers would probably be the big one. You pay in jail. Those guys.
That's a rough.
That's a really that's a thankless job, and recruiting jailers is always a big deal.
And that's so true. I got the privilege of going out to the jail, and sheriff gave us a tour. Actually, gave me and Chad a tour at the same time. We walked through it, and
Chad didn't want to stay. I'm just kidding.
I was the one that was a little worried about him keeping me, but anyway.
That's funny. So what did you learn at this jail?
Man, it's a great facility out there. I mean, you don't smell like an overwhelming bleach smell like you think you would smell, but it's super clean. And everybody, even the prisoners out there, are respectful. We didn't get to go in the maximum security section, which of course I don't know that I'd want to go in there anyway, but we got to go to the crow's nest to go look at all the cameras and see what that looks like. Yeah. But I was very impressed with the whole setup.
Right. There's the jail was a big $78 million project that the county's still paying on, and there's rumblings. We just did a $400 million bond for the school district, for San Angelo Independent School District, and now and we just did the bond for the Coliseum. That was what, $42 million. There's talk that we're going to have to issue some more bonds at the county to build up more courtroom space because, the county, not only does it do roads in Precinct 2, but it also runs the entire judicial justice system for Tom Green County.
So when do you know the date of when the actual courtrooms were built?
Well, you have the old courthouse in like 1933.
I mean, I think it's time to upgrade them.
But it's been renovated and everything.
Yeah, it's still.
They have big TV sets in there now.
Yeah, it's still in the IT world we still have to do things using making sure that the historical society is happy with us. I can see the need for the courtrooms getting enlarged or even bigger. I'd heard rumblings about that too, about possibly taking over the old Standard Times building and renovating.
The back wall is falling out, dude.
I know they got to bulldoze that thing down. I had a buddy that actually went in there. They had to clean up because the roof fell in. They had to go clean up a bunch of stuff.
I don't think it's worth fixing it.
Yeah.
10 years ago, someone wanted me to, look at buying it. And I was like, there's no way I could buy that thing. But they wanted, I think we estimated back then, this is like 2017, it would be about a $30 million construction project to fix that building. Yeah. $30 million bucks.
Yeah.
But now we're talking tearing down like the old jail downtown, and building a judicial center. And part of the problem we have, or part of the challenge we have, is we have a magistrate and 4 district judges, and they are all, your budget at the county handles most of their payroll and their infrastructure and things like that, and they're not really protected when you think about it. You think about some of these trials we've had. I mean, we have crazy divorce cases, which we don't cover that much. We got to find one to cover though. But I think those are probably the most dangerous. You got one party or the other flies off the handle, and the judge is walking out the back of that old courthouse.
Right.
So I think security is an issue for our judicial system and the current infrastructure we have, a big one. And I'm a budget hawk too, but I'm thinking that a state district judge, we have to elevate those people to a certain level to maintain our justice system.
Right.
Okay. It's the position, not the person, but those people in those positions need
the protection.
They need the protection. They need to be able to park their car and not ever see the outside. You know what I'm saying? Be able to get right in the courtroom, as opposed to walking through a dark parking lot after a
group of people. Yeah.
And so, how much money would you want to put the county in debt to build a justice system that would handle that kind of stuff?
Yeah, how much is that? What was the school bond, the SISD bond? $400 million.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't even throw a number at it. But I'm sure it's going to. And of course, going to the taxpayers and going after another bond is not going to be a fun thing to do either.
Yeah, but they'll probably approve it because the county employees will all vote for it.
Yeah,
and they'll get the school district employees to help them out.
There you go.
But and no one else will vote. No, we don't even know what this is, and all of a sudden there's a 20-cent stipend on their tax rate for the county.
And here we are raising awareness about it, and we're going to stifle the whole thing.
Shut it down. But I mean, our infrastructure is really old. If you go to Abilene, they built a multi-story building like between 1979 and 1980, and all their courtrooms are in the office building downtown. So it's really a better setup than what we have to. We're all over the place. We have JP courts over there in the old jail. We got the old courthouse. I just think we need to have more infrastructure. Now, one of the ideas I had was, since most of the hearings, the cattle call, when they bring out and they do the initial sentencing or the initial arraignment, for a lot of the people in jail, build a metal building out of the jail.
Yeah.
And make that the courtroom. But everyone shot me down on that, said, no, we can't do that.
They didn't like that, huh?
They didn't like the metal building idea. They didn't like it putting it out the jail.
Well, maybe it's in your presentation.
Probably so, because I just said, build a metal building.
Yeah.
But anyway, who is Todd Smith? And I hesitate to even ask you this, but you went through a tragedy in your family about 3 months ago?
October
of last year. You lost your daughter?
Yes.
How did that change? I mean, I can imagine. I have 2 daughters. I can imagine losing a daughter. I mean, it's got to be the hardest thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish this upon anybody at all. It's a rough thing. I'm just now getting to the point where I can talk about it without just busting out crying. But yeah, it's a rough thing.
So, what did you know it was going to happen, or was it like a sudden thing?
Well, so my daughter was in the hospital a year ago March, in San Antonio, and she was in liver failure, and her MELD score, if anybody knows what a MELD score is, it's a score from 0 to 41 on your liver disease.
Right.
And her MELD score was at a 32, and they told us that she had about 30 days to live. And of course, we went all to the to our church and to everybody we knew and just prayed over her, and we witnessed a miracle because her MELD score went from a 32 down to a 7.
So the lower the score, the better.
The better, yes. So she was able to come home and live normal. But as that time went on, she didn't fix things. As that time went on, it just got worse. And the last visit to the hospital, we thought it was just a normal visit that was going to go see her. And we didn't know it was going to be our last. But they put her on a ventilator. And, we got to say goodbye to her and got to say, what, we loved her and all that. But she went in a ventilator and she never came out. So I look at it now as God gave us another year with her.
Right. Get a long goodbye.
Yeah, and I took, looking back, I took some time that, every time I saw her, I hugged her, and I love you every time I saw her. So there was a reason for that, and I have that faith, and that's the only thing keeping me going is that faith.
Faith in Jesus.
In Jesus, yes.
Right. Was it addiction?
Yes.
So that's something that the county has to deal with. Like you give guardianships, you have drug courts, all that kind of stuff. Have you thought about things that the state could do, the county could do to help other families that are suffering from every family has an addiction story,
Yeah, in my mind, I've been thinking a way to honor Emily on how to help other individuals battling the same thing. And I haven't come up with anything yet, but I feel like something's coming.
Right.
I've got to be able to take my knowledge of what I learned through that whole process of, having a normal 21-year-old daughter that's just as, spunky and just as outgoing as everybody, to an addicted person that was hard-headed like her dad, and she wouldn't accept any help. So there's got to be something that I can provide to somebody about how I can help somebody else through this problem, through this issue.
The county has a drug court, which is Ben Nolan, who's the county court at law number 1. I think he was one of the spearheads of doing this, and it's really good because what happens is when you see, and this happens with females a lot, you'll see them get arrested for like less than 1 gram of meth, and then they get probation, and then the next time, like within 6 months or a year, now they're 400 to 200 milligrams of meth, and then they're going off to prison. So how do you intervene there and stop that thing? Because every person that goes into prison becomes a CPS case. It becomes there's all kinds of support mechanisms that we have to pay for, and it's expensive to send someone to prison, especially for drugs.
Especially, yeah.
So,
but we joined Al-Anon early on, and that was a huge help because we were in with a bunch of other people going through. Some of them were going through the same thing we were going through, so it helped us a lot.
So it was families that had someone who's been victimized,
and even lost daughters and lost sons that helped give us some direction on, not really of what you need to do, but just comfort of, we know what you're going through, and we're here if you need us.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Todd, thank you. I didn't know if you wanted to bring up that last part, but I mean, my heart's been feeling for you for months. When I found out about it, I was like, my goodness, you're going through that much stuff.
Right.
It's tough, and also the empathy that I have, because anyone who has kids, you got to have a lot of empathy for that.
Yeah.
But it's like, life is hard.
Yeah. Forever, she was 25, forever 25. So
there you go.
That's good.
Anyway, Todd Smith is running for county commissioner,
Precinct 2,
southeast quadrant of Tom Green County. When is election day? March 3rd?
March the 3rd is election day. February 17th is early voting.
Okay.
So get out there and let your voice be heard. I would appreciate your vote. I would appreciate your support. I am for the taxpayer. This data center that's coming in, if we get questions and people say this is not something we want to do, then I have to vote on the behalf of the taxpayer. It'd be that guy that says no, and even though people may not like me for it, but if it's what the constituents want, then that's what I'm for here as well.
All right. Well, Todd, thanks for coming on our show. I'm Joe Hyde with Angelo Live. Back to the newsroom.
Into the news, probably the biggest news from this morning is that Central High School was evacuated due to a threat that turned out to be a hoax. SISD has said that the school received a voicemail that contained a threat but did not mention Central High School directly. Even so, the school was evacuated out of caution, and in the release, the San Angelo Police Department said the message was very generic, but safety precautions were taken to ensure the safety of the student body, and this is still currently under investigation. I know a lot of you guys think that it was redundant to evacuate the kids even though there's no active threat. You cannot be too safe in these situations. It's better to be safe than sorry, and just thank God that everybody's okay. The San Angelo City Council reviewed proposed design and guidelines and conditional use standards for large-scale data centers as officials consider regulations tied to a potential skybox data center project northeast of San Angelo. The council has rezoned the property from ranch and estate to light manufacturing, and the draft rules would require a conditional use permit for data centers larger than 3,000 square feet. Proposed standards address several areas like setbacks, landscaping, lighting, traffic, among others, which sound capped at 60 decibels during the day and 55 decibels at night, with restrictions on testing. Final City Council consideration and a possible vote is expected in early April. The Tom Green County Elections Office reported that 660 voters cast ballots on the first day of early voting for the March 3rd, 2026 primary elections. Early voting runs through February 27th at 5 locations, including the main site at the Keys Building downtown and 4 branch locations across the county, with extended weekend hours available. Locally, Republican voters will decide contested primaries for County Court at Law Number 1 between Jada Johnson and Jessica Skinner. Jessica Skinner and Leland Lacey. County Clerk between Lauren Barone and Christina Ubando, and Precinct 2 County Commissioner between Todd Smith and Chad Decker. We will get into the weather right after this message from Jay Chandler.
It's hard to believe how reckless some people can be and how hard they fight against real victims. You need a partner who consistently beats the giants and who will never, ever flinch.
Into the weather, the rest of the week looks really nice, and it could get a little chilly over the weekend. Right now, it is 70 degrees outside with a high of 78, and the low tonight comes in at 49. Tomorrow will be a beautiful sunny day with a high around 77, and then tomorrow night the low drops down to 44. On Friday, clouds will start to roll in, but it won't be enough to block out the sun. The high jumps up to 78, and the low should be down around 45. Over the weekend, the highs will be in the mid to low 60s, and the lows will be around that freezing point of 32 degrees. You guys make sure you're praying for the Panhandle, Oklahoma, and Kansas. They are all under fire watch, and some of them have wildfires going on. We'll be right back after this word from Conno's Diamonds and Coins.
When it comes to unique pieces you can't find anywhere else, Conno's Diamonds and Coins is your one-stop shop. With over 24 years in the diamond and coin industry, Conno's Diamonds and Coins is West Texas's choice for diamonds, jewelry, coins, silver, and gold. Owner Bill Conno stands by his work and offers free consultations, including estate jewelry. Don't just trust anyone with your valuables. Come see the staff at Conno's at 1016 West Beauregard in San Angelo.
Thank you for watching the Live Daily News Show, the only locally owned news show in the Concho Valley. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook, X, and all other social media platforms, and download the San Angelo Live